Hey guys, I'm just going to put a video out here for you today. I'm sorry that we've been a little lax on the videos, training partners, all that fun stuff, social distancing. It's been a little tough figuring that out, but I'm down in my basement, so I'm in the dungeon right now. I'm gonna put out a quick video here for you that you guys can do by yourselves, or you can do with a partner, okay? It's gonna be our hook defense cover, all right, with counters. So you can add focus mitts to this drill if you have a training partner at home. And if not, you can just shadow box technique like I'm gonna do in the demonstration here right now, okay? If there's any questions or anything like that at all, please don't hesitate to contact us. And hopefully sooner or later, we're gonna be training back together again. And then we'll be able to put our hands on each other in person, all right? Okay, I'm gonna get started right away. So what we're looking at first is to deal with is we're talking about a subject that we've come into contact with, and maybe it started as a verbal argument, a disagreement, whatever, what have you. It just depends on what you've come across, okay? So I'm engaging with that person, all right? So first things first, if I know that that conversation is not really going all the way I want it to go, if my hands are down here, or I'm just loose in a neutral stance talking, I tend to talk with my hands a lot, everybody knows that about me, is that the one thing I want to avoid is my hands going into my pockets, or me crossing my arms, or anything like that, right? I want my hands free to be able to defend myself if I have to. So if you're gonna talk with your hands, which is great, it's a great distraction, I want my hands to be above my waistline and really above my midsection. I kind of want to be around chest level, all right? Whether I'm talking, whether I clasp my hands together, I wouldn't intertwine them. I want them one over the other, right? I tend to kind of keep them up here, or at least close in proximity as I'm talking, all right? Other factors that you can do is, again, like we talked about, you can be scratching your ear kind of thing, scratching the side of your face, your temple, whatever, like you're thinking, rubbing your hair or your hat, scratching your nose, as long as my hands are here somewhere around that area that we just talked about, okay? Super, super important, okay? Building in situational awareness, all right? And when I say that, obviously situational awareness, it means I'm being in the moment. I'm fully engaged in this moment. I'm paying attention to everything that's going on with that person I'm talking to, as well as everything that surpasses past that person, all right? So is there secondary people that may come into play that are friends of theirs? Is there, you know, other environmental issues that can be considered threats that are around there, high traffic area levels, all kinds of different citizens, whatever, what have you, right? Where are my exits? How do I get to them? Is there a phone that I can get to? Who can I signal for help? So on and so forth, okay? There's 100 different things that we can take into consideration here, all right? But things to get your brain going and thinking about, all right? As long as that makes sense to everybody. So let's change roles for a second. I'm bad guy. So if I'm gonna throw a punch, 9 times out of 10 that we've seen, I hate playing stats, but 9 times out of 10 we've seen is you don't tend to see the person square off. So they're not gonna come out here lined up in a great fight stance and be ready. That does happen, but very rarely, all right? So if that happens, obviously we get right into our stance. Here, shoulders rolled forward, chin down, hands out in front, okay? As the defense. So most of the time it's people are low and they're kind of bouncing around, or there's something's going, they're making fists, all those pre-threat cues, right? So I want to monitor the hands to see what they're doing. Are they putting them in their pockets to reach for something? Are they putting one hand behind to reach for something? Are they reaching somewhere underneath? Are they fidgeting? What's happening with their hands? Okay, so that's number one. I want to monitor those. Number two is I want to watch their chest line, all right? So I always call it a T position, so across the shoulders, down the chest, okay? Where those intersect, right here, that T position, I want to kind of keep my eyes around there, okay? Because if I'm going to throw that punch, what's going to happen is they're going to be here, whether they're up or whether they're down. For me to throw that punch, I need to move my body. So as soon as I'm here and I go to punch, my shoulder rolls back, my hand will come up, and it's a big overt hook or the lead one, okay? So that's the defense that we're looking at from here, whether it be a slap or whether it be a punch, but they're reaching out, okay? So I'm creating that space inside that I want to try to get inside, all right? So if that makes sense to everybody, all right? Again, I know I'm by myself, so I'm gonna break this down as best as we can here. So if everybody understands that when they're reaching, I want to gain inside position here, all right? I want to be inside here to stop that trajectory of the punch, all right? Obviously, the faster it comes, the harder it's going to be for me to block that, so I want to catch it back here, all right? That's going to make us move laterally, right? So we talked about that in the other videos beforehand, as I'm stepping forward, I'm stepping back, I'm stepping to my left, I'm stepping to my right, okay? I'm always maintaining my stance while I do that, but I wanna make sure that I'm not totally bladed off, right? So if I'm in my stance, my hips are facing forward, and I have that 60-40 weight distribution from the front to the back, shoulders rolled forward, chin down, hands up. So now I'm in a defensive stance, all right? So now we're gonna work on the lead one first, okay? So if I'm sitting here and I'm throwing that big lead left arm, maybe a little different on your camera angle. So I'm first gonna start with the cover, okay? So cover-wise, when I'm covering, I wanna make sure that I'm coming across the head here, call it combing the hair, coming across the head all the way to the back. So my chin is still tucked, so it's down, back of the head, and I'm gonna grab the back of the neck, all right? I'm gonna lean in to my arm so that's tight against the temple of my head here, and I'm giving the least amount of space here for that punch to come through. All right, I got a lot of big meaty parts here, my shoulder, side of my arm here, forearm, everything is here to stop, and I'm leaning in slightly. All right, I want to make sure that I'm protecting my chin, jawline, ear, temple, side of the neck, back of the neck. All right, all those places that knockouts are going to happen quickly. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to start with a slight motion to the side with that cover, okay? So if I'm moving to this side here, it's going to be lead hook. I'm in my defensive stance here. I'm just going to step and cover. Back. Step and cover. Here. I'm slightly moving forward too, right? Because I want to cut down that punch power. But what I'm doing is moving to the outside. As this is coming this way, I'm stopping it from making its full movement through to get a full punch, all right? So, sliding out. Sliding out. Good. If I go to the other side, same thing. This one, I'm going to step off and cover. So my back leg is stepping and covering. Stepping and covering. Stepping and covering. And then I'm going back to my original stance all the time. Super important to maintain my base, right? So on the front one, I'm stepping slightly with my front foot here. With this side, I'm slightly stepping with my back here. All right, that way I maintain my base and my stance at all times. All right, so now let's add in the counters. So I'm here, I'm stepping to my left, so I'm using my front foot. I'm going to step. So once I've stepped with that with my front foot, I'm lined up for the hook. So we're gonna do a 3-punch counter return, right? So I'm leaned in, I'm just gonna roll off that with a hook. Front hook, back to the cross, nice and slow, maintain that good discipline of covering. And then as I pull back that cross, I'm gonna come with a secondary hook, all right? So, cover, hook, cross, hook. All right, I know the camera angle isn't showing my foot position, all right, but make sure that this is what's making contact, the fist, but what's propelling that fist is all your core, all right? So my core, my hips, legs, my body is pushing the punch, not my arm, all right? Very, very important. I'm not gonna go tit for tat for closed fist, open hand right now. You practice what you want with the pads, just know what your limitations are on both, okay? Everybody knows that an open palm is gonna have the same effect as a punch, but I'm saving my hands for dexterity if I need to access secondary weapons, right? yes, the closed fist is what most people naturally go to. Just make sure that if you are training this, is that I'm making sure that I'm making contact with those front two knuckles, all right? So everybody saw me when I was throwing my cross, is that I was rotating the fist here to make sure that I'm presenting those two, all right? And making that contact. You can discipline that with the pads, find the center of that focus mitt, and then make sure that I'm going straight to the center of that focus mitt with those two knuckles, okay? That little circle in there that most of them have, or the logo, whatever it may be, focus on getting your arm as a straight line to that pad and making that contact, okay? And your partner will be able to feel that out. Okay, so if that makes sense to everybody, we're gonna move on, all right? So we did the lead hook, or the left side. Now we're gonna move on to the right, okay? So, as we said before, we're in our stance. I'm gonna move with my back leg. I'm gonna set in to that cover. Now obviously my hip is lined up, that this time I'm gonna lead with the cross. So my cross is gonna come across from here, cover, out. See, my hand always comes to make sure that I have that cover no matter where I'm going. It's almost like there's strings pulling my arms, okay? Then when it comes back, I'm gonna hook. Now I come back to the cross, all right? Then I step out and come back for the sake of the drill, all right? Again, we're gonna move to the right. So I'm here, step with the right, lead back in with the cross, hook, cross, back out, okay? So you can move back and forth, and covering and shadow boxing that technique. Really be disciplined on how you're moving your hips and really banging off those punches, okay? Again, like I said, we talked about the rotation for the cross. For the hooks, if you're not gonna go open palm, I tend to like thumb up for my hook. I find it drives my elbow higher as a guard, and it brings my shoulder up higher as opposed to coming this way. It's just the way that I've been taught from some of the MMA guys that I'm lucky enough to train with, that they like the thumb up. I really like it, and I know I push it towards our students, all right? So, thumb up for the hook, all right? We're gonna do both sides here. So, we're in, left, hook, cross, hook, back out, to the right, back leg, cover, cross, hook, cross, and then back, all right? So that's the cover with the 3-punch return. Now, the question comes up all the time, what about the secondary hand when I'm covering? So there's two options here, all right? One is no better than the other, but one is gonna be more reliable, all right? If that makes sense. So what you can do is you can cover and come up the middle. So I'm gonna split that. So as that person's throwing that hook, I'm covering off the hook, and then my hand's gonna drive to the face, all right? So I'm here, boom, all right? Now you can still finish off with that hook, cross, hook, and then move back. It's a great way to start. You might not even need to get to that hook, cross, hook if you land that hit, all right? So that's one option, all right? Number two is attaching the tactical helmet, all right? So from here, I'm going to lean. I'm gonna lean as I do my original cover. My secondary hand's gonna come over top and grab my wrist. So I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna set in this way, okay? So not only am I blocking here, if I advance forward, my secondary elbow can make contact with that attacker's face, okay? Again, really solid hit, very strong. And then I can still work off my 3-punch counter from there. So I can be here, set in, hook, cross, hook, and back up, all right? Or move in and take control, it depends what you need to do, all right? Same from the other side. I'm gonna slide back, cover, hand comes over top, and then into the drive for the cross, hook, cross, and back, okay? So that's it. Rep it out as much as possible, all right? Moving back and forth, adding in pad work if you can. If you can't, then shadow box it. Another thing that you can do is if you have a punching bag at home, you can use that as your assailant, and you work through the program, through the combination that way, should I say. So again, I have the pad or the punching bag. I can move through, I can do a couple of hits, push back, and now plan that bag returns with a hit, right? Then do the defense with either the helmet or just the cover and hit, or just the cover and I'm rolling off, okay? One thing I will say is if you are covering, I would maintain that secondary hand. If it's just the cover, get that secondary hand up to keep it here somewhere if I'm not gonna throw a strike, okay? Again, we prefer over the head. That way I'm protecting even stronger about a secondary attack, right? We always have 1+1, all right? If they're gonna throw one punch, they're gonna throw two most likely. That's what we're doing on the return. I'm not throwing one, I'm throwing three, all right? Blast through the target, destroy it, and then move on with your day, all right? All right, anyways, I hope that makes sense to everybody. If there's any questions that come up at all, feel free to personally message me at any time. All right, I'm gonna be putting out more videos soon. I'm gonna have some training partners, maybe even talk the wife into helping me out a bit if I can. Other than that, we're gonna have some law enforcement stuff coming out soon. I've been working on tons of curriculum, tons of writing, tons of studying. There's gonna be a lot of really exciting things that are gonna be happening for the school. Stay tuned, stay committed, stay disciplined. And again, if you guys need anything, please reach out to me, okay? All right, we'll talk soon. Stay safe.